mom's running it now. This thing does not lug down in this heavy hay. It's cutting quite a bit cleaner. It's got a little bit longer blade. They lowered the shock hub and they changed the rock guard. But my 416 headers, where that hay's kind of laid down a little bit, it'll just miss little pieces, not much. I mean, very, very little. But this one's cleaning it up. I don't see any, other than where they missed up there trying to set up the GPS. But I don't see any missed hay. The windrows look almost the same. Ours have B&D crushers. This has just the normal chevron rollers, so it's not conditioning probably quite as tight as our windrows are, but pretty impressed so far. I'm going to get on this machine here in just a few minutes. I just can't believe how much quieter it is. So we got the GPS on. It's about 2 tons to the acre at least. It's laid over. We're not bogging down. We're doing 8 miles an hour. We can go faster, but there's a couple ruts out here. Those other 3 won't cut like this. Got the GPS rolling. I just can't believe how freaking good it's been. On hay that thick. This has the IntelliView 4 like our T8s have, for the GPS and whatnot, which I think that was an option on our other 262. We just never have gotten them with GPS. And it's got Sirius radio already installed. It's come extremely clean. It's smooth. It don't have a tandem rear axle thing anymore. It's got the single rear axle, or tandem pivot. It's just a single rear axle with a single airbag. It seems to ride really good. Okay, we're in my 260 now. We don't have GPS in ours. It's not all fancy like that up on it. It cuts pretty good too, but occasionally when we get into the stuff that's really laid down, it will bog down where I'm seeing that other one's not. In fact, she's coming up on us right now. My mom on the outside, she's passing us. It runs quite a bit different than this one. It's quieter. It cuts a little bit cleaner just with the how they redesigned the header with the longer blades, lower pods, or not necessarily lower pods, lower shock hub. And he's cutting out a wheel track, so we could go a little faster than this, but we don't like to go too fast next to our wheel tracks. And we could go a lot faster with that one too, but we're not really into tearing shit up, so. I don't know if you can hear that though. We just kind of got into some hay that's a little bit laid over like this right here. And you can hear the header, you can hear the pump wind down, and it's cutting it, but you can hear it's like it's more stressful for this one to cut it, where that one, it just cuts right through it. It's crazy the difference. All Durabine 416 headers, but that one's a Durabine 416 plus. The old Trooper 8080s, they're badass. New Holland's gonna leave this swather with me for a couple weeks. Pretty excited. Well, I'm pretty impressed with the old 260 plus swather. It's not out yet. It's for sale in 2022, but they've got a couple of these machines that they're demoing all over the country. And so I called New Holland and asked if they could bring this machine up to me because we want to try it out. So we got a 260 standard, and we like it for the most part, but there's a lot of things that we don't like about it. So they brought us this swather, and they're gonna let me keep it for the remainder of the year to finish out our haying for the year. So that's pretty cool. Cause you know, the 2-hour demos, you don't really get a good feel for what you're doing, but they're gonna let me keep this one. We got about, if Mother Nature plays good, we've got about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks left to cut, and then we'll be done for the year. So they're gonna let me keep this machine. My mom's the one that's running it. And we'll just see what we think about it when we're done. And if I like it, we might end up with it. I don't know. But pretty excited. Got to ride around it. It's the first swather we've ever ran with GPS. We really don't run GPS on our swathers. But it's a pretty cool feature. It's got the IntelliView 4 monitor like my T8 does. It's a very well thought out machine. So, and the yellow frame, all that. I'm gonna get another video with it next to my 260 so I can show you guys exactly what they've changed. And it's quite a bit. You know, from looking away, it kind of just looks like they changed the paint scheme, but when we get them next to each other, I'll show you guys all the differences in this machine. There's a few, every one of them. There's not one of them that they went backwards on. Everything that they've changed on this machine has been for the better, and we really like it. I'm following it right now. I got this thing turned around, so I don't know how good it's gonna get here. Looking through my windshield and my pickup, but this machine cuts just unbelievably clean. We're about 2 ton of the acre orchard grass. This is our 3rd cutting. It's extremely thick, dense hay. And those, my 8080, and I don't have my other 88 out here, but that 8080's cutting it pretty good. My 260's cutting it pretty good, but neither one of them are cutting like this 260 plus is. They changed the pumps on it, to where it's not robbing so much horsepower from that 6.7 engine that's in them. And yes, all the swathers that are New Holland since the H80 60s, 80 80s, 240s, 220s, 260s, 260 plus, they're 6.7 diesel. They're an Iveco 6.7. And it goes the same for Case. Case is New Holland. It's C&H. They never put a 5.9 in a Case swather or a New Holland swather since New Holland and Case have merged. And I know there's some information out there saying that some of those 2008s and 2007 swathers may have had a 5.9 in them. They did not. They are a 6.7. So, but this one runs really good. That all aside, we really like it. They didn't change the horsepower on it, but with the pumps that they changed, it doesn't rob the horsepower away from the engine, and you can tell the difference. It is a huge difference. As far as the way it lays the windrow, it lays it basically identical. The only difference that I see is mine have the B&D crushers, but I've went out and I've just the way that it sets the hay down, it does a beautiful job. Mine have all done a beautiful job. Ours have B&D crushers. This has the Chevron rubber rollers. But as far as it laying the windrow, that I can't see where that's changed much. They did do some differentiations on the auger flaps. They took the big, I think they took the big ones out, so it's got several of the small flaps, the short flaps on this auger, and it just helps it feed to the center a little bit better. And I think all that's helping is the hay getting away from the cutter bar. I don't think it changes much on the way that it's setting in the windrow. The New Holland's rotary headers have always done the best job of setting the hay in the windrow on the 416s. They've done the best that you can do. They're better than the Masseys. They're 10 times better than the John Deeres. But when they went to the 220s and 240s and 260s, I just wasn't a fan of what they had done with the steering pumps and all that versus the 8080s, the older swathers like the 8060s, the 8080s. I wasn't a fan of it. This is completely different than all of it, and it is so much better. The way they steer, there's no whine. They went to rubber hoses instead of steel lines, and there's just all that is so much better. So this machine is just unbelievably well thought out. And then they did the best thing is getting rid of that two-way airbag independent rear suspension and went back to a solid axle, and it's got a single airbag in the center of the axle and 4-link suspension. And that is the key to making these things ride extremely well. I never did like the dual airbag suspension on the New Holland swathers. It's been out for a long time, and it's garbage the way that they sit. They just don't sit correctly. But this one, it is everything about it that they have updated on this machine is a winner. So stick around. I'm going to try to get some more videos over the next couple weeks, and I'm hoping to get Scott Wainsgard down here to go over it with me when we start cutting some alfalfa, but they're going to let us have it here for the remainder of the year, and I'm pretty excited about that.